Hey, truth seekers, welcome back. Zach here. The Townville school shooting hoax of now more than a week's past needs to be exposed. And at the end of this video, be sure to call Anderson School District 4, ask for Joanne Avery. Joanne Avery, the phone number is 864-403-2000. Call Joanne Avery and ask her why they had a tribute for Lil Jacob at 1:42 p.m. in the afternoon district-wide. I'm going to give you the answer for why that happened. Let's call Joanne Avery, though, as a big group to let them know we're done with the shooting hoaxes. We're done with the fake headlines about the little children being killed. We've had enough. These people are the tyrants of the world. They are the filth of the world. They sell us out for their own greed, for their own position, for their own wealth, for their own salary. They don't need to exist. You know, the day of the sellout ruling over us is over. It needs to be over. Joanne Avery, she's going to find that out. So let's talk about Lil Jacob, the fake child victim for the fake school shooting in Townville. As I've been saying, as I've put out multiple videos now, this was a tribute to the Sandy Hook school shooting hoax of December 14th, 2012. And now we have even more evidence that that is exactly what it is, including the 1:42 in the afternoon tribute, which we'll get to. For Lil Jacob's funeral, which happened just recently, they had it in October, the month that celebrates Halloween. Look at what they had for his funeral. They had a costume party. And they buried little Jacob in a Batman outfit. Let us not forget the Sandy Hook school shooting hoax happened right after the Aurora, Colorado theater shooting hoax, when both Aurora and Sandy Hook were featured in the Batman movie, The Dark Knight Rises. Mentions of Aurora, Sandy Hook, then right after the film, shootings in Aurora and Sandy Hook. For that latest Batman film, they changed a section of the Gotham map, which had been that way for decades. They changed it to Sandy Hook. The reason all of this happens is because the same Zionist Jews who run Hollywood, run your media, run your world, run banking, run government. Zionist Jew world order, that's what you live in. And here's further proof. The Zionist Jews love gematria, the practice of coding numbers into words. They call those of us who aren't Jewish goy. It means something lesser, something that can be lied to, something that doesn't matter, something that should work so that the Jewish people can exist. The reason the Jewish people came over here and set up the United States of America, which is exactly what they did, the reason they set up this nation with freedom of religion is because they have a filthy fucking religion that nobody in the world wants. And do you know why? Because it says they're better than everyone else. They don't have to work. The rest of the world are slaves for them to work for them. That's why you see all these fat Jewish slobs in Hollywood on the TV talking about shit they don't know a fucking thing about. How many fat Jewish slobs are there in professional sports that have never played, have no athletic ability, they're coaching, they're the analysts? Hello? It's not hard to see who's running your world. Here we go. Heart of an angel. They said the boy that was killed was Jacob. What does Jacob change his name to in the Bible? Israel. What does Jesus speak out against in the Bible? Oh, the Jewish people? He says you don't know what they're up to in their synagogues? I'm showing you what they're up to. Here you go. Israel equals 64. Zion 64. Thelema 64. That's the occult religion about do whatever you want that worships the number 93, which I've been educating about for 3 years in regards to its connections to Israel. What did we just have last week? Death of the former Israeli president at age 93. They had his funeral on September 30th, 9/30. Obama left for Israel along with the rest of the world's leaders on September 29th for the funeral, the day leaving 93 days left in the year. Thelema worships the number 93, the occult religion about do whatever you want. In the Bible, it says the false Jews will rule and they will be the synagogue of Satan. What Satanism is self-worship. Think about the phrase, do whatever you want. Do what thou wilt. Anyway, this kid's name is Jacob Hall. He is a fictional character. There's no such thing. Jacob Hall 64. They call him Lil Jacob on his GoFundMe that raised $150,000. Lil Jacob. $150,000 raised from the sheeple who haven't figured out that the TV is all lies and propaganda. Still haven't figured that out in 2016. Why? Because they've been chemically dumbed down and programmed to be retarded since birth from this same gang. The same gang that runs your TV, runs your schools. People like this lady that we're all going to be calling. Unless you want the synagogue of Satan, the Zionist Jews, to keep ruling over you. If you're afraid they're going to come get you, cowardice is the reason they already got you. That phrase for the Thelema, do what thou wilt, 64. See a pattern here? Synagogue of Satan, 64. Heart of an angel, 64. Heart of an angel. The word angel alone has gematria of 39, number of books in the Old Testament. Angels wrote your Bible. So anyway, let's get this little shot here. They say this is what Lil Jacob looks like now. Compared to the images they put out of him last week, he was wearing glasses and he looked totally different. I don't even know if this is the same kid. It doesn't matter. Do you know how many videos and blog posts I have documenting all the Batman connections in these school shootings? 2 years ago, it was Sparks, Arizona. They said the man who was killed in the shooting was someone who wore his Batman costume to school almost every day. How many of you went to school and remember a teacher wearing a superhero costume to school almost every day? Sparks, Arizona, supposedly the guy that wore the Batman costume almost every day was shot and killed. And they said he was a teacher, and they put out all these pictures of him in the media. They had one of him in the Batman costume with no kids in the picture, and then the rest of the pictures were him in military fatigues. Here you live in a military war empire nation. All of this agenda is about taking away the guns from the people, containing the people, more surveillance over the people, while militarizing police. You know what that translates to? People who are ruled over, who are really in no position to do anything. That's the long, slow-term plan. But don't worry, they're not coming for your guns anytime soon. That's just the plan probably over the next half a century. They're not coming for the guns for a long time from now. First, they're going to let us kill each other with them. Programmed us to hate each other, fear each other. The only thing people trust in this nation is the TV. That's how backwards it is. But anyway, the reason why they're going with this Batman theming, think about what Batman represents. He's supposed to kind of be like the good guy, but he's willing to use kind of, illegitimate means to get his ways. I'm sure that the people who rule over us, the Zionist Jews, the Freemasons, see themselves as something similar. Batman always has fancy technology. He tries not to kill. I'm telling you, these Zionist Jews, they just love to use fake killing to dupe you. That's why they give us these fake school shootings, these fake characters, Lil Jacob. Batman 174. New World Order 174. Batman also has the gematria of 51, like conspiracy, like federal, like mass shooting. Just before this, there was the Burlington, Washington shooting by the numbers, Burlington 51. Think about Area 51, the conspiracy area. Let's read this reporting. Superheroes abounded Tuesday night. They loved their Tuesdays. 9/11 was a Tuesday. At Oakdale Baptist Church. And pay attention to this. So often in these memorials for the shootings, they're at Baptist Church. Think something bad's going on, extra bad within the Baptist wing, hosting all these shooting hoax parties. All honoring Lil Jacob. Baptist has that gematria of 33, that special number, like believe. Zionist Nation of Israel created with a 33-member vote by the United Nations that was 39 floors tall. United Nations symbol, 33 parts. Look at this. Superman. Remember the last ad for Lil Jacob was with Superman, his GoFundMe. Superman has gematria of 44, like kill, like shooting. Superman, Wonder Woman, Spider-Man, and Captain America came. At least a dozen children gasped and giggled when a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle sauntered into the sanctuary. Remember the picture of him on his GoFundMe? The Spider-Man border, or not Spider-Man, Superman with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles t-shirt. Again, this is happening in October, Halloween month. In many ways, the atmosphere was reminiscent of a child's party. If only that were the case. And it was a party. There was no funeral. There's no Lil Jacob. They said 2 boys were killed, but they're only giving you the story of one. They're only raising money for one. You put 2 fictional characters out there, you double the chances of being caught. Jacob 6 was among those shot September 28th. Nobody was shot. Near the playground at Townville Elementary School. He died of his injuries Saturday. Again, Baptist has that gematria of 33, like federal the small way, like police. Again, it is the police who are run by the Freemasons, the same Freemasons that control your media, your federal government. Federal police 33, false flag 33, secrecy 33, masonry 33. All of you who come here and say a false flag is when they really do something, that's not even true. They don't have to really do anything for a false flag. A false flag is a created propaganda event to have a psychological impact for an agenda. You don't have to do anything. You can do just like a fake shooting. You know, Sandy Hook, more than a year in advance, the coroner wrote the bill so that children autopsies, no information had to be disclosed to the public. Then the same guy who oversaw Sandy Hook, Dr. H. Wayne Carver, who was laughing on TV, you know, talking about, oh, the cute kids, they were cute when I was going over the murder scene. I mean, just body language that didn't make any sense. Total psychopath, apparently, doing the autopsy at Sandy Hook. 33, though, the number of the false flag. When you write out 33, it sums to 156, like when you write out South Carolina, where this Townville school shooting was. False flag, 156. Now having the party in October. Reminders of Newtown, where the Sandy Hook hoax shooting happened. Remember, this town is right next to Sandy Springs as well. Remember how Sandy Hook came right after Hurricane Sandy. Jacob's 12-year-old Star Henderson. One of Jacob's aunts, 12-year-old, saw a little girl, supposedly his aunt. Show you what's up with her. Made up character, made up story. I guess let's read some more. The superheroes who showed up Tuesday night were among more than 1,000 people who paid respects to a boy gone too soon. It's probably all the Freemason network in the area that showed up. How many people are going to come out for, you know, in real life, when children are killed needlessly, it doesn't make the papers. South Seattle, I used to teach down there. I live up in Seattle. South Seattle's the segregated part of Seattle that you never hear about, the poor area where all the non-white people live for the most part. Children die there frequently. They get ran over, they get shot, bad things happen. Never makes the paper. No GoFundMe accounts for any of it. South Seattle, like so many other poor places in this nation, where children die, people needlessly die every day, you never hear about it. Never. But you'll hear about a little boy, Lil Jacob, who didn't even die. Fake fundraiser, money to fund the next false flag shooting hoax. 7-year-old Aaron Alexander, they love to use their double initials, AA1111, was on the playground when the shooting mortally wounded Jacob. When I started running, he got shot, Aaron said outside the church Tuesday night. He was a great friend. Kid speaks well for 6 years old. Jacob's casket was blue and covered with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle decals. His body was dressed in a tiny Batman costume. Because the caped crusader, the CC, see the third letter, the 33, was one of his favorites. Photos of him flanked the casket and also appeared on 2 large screens in the sanctuary. Think about how we're talking about fictional characters, children, a party, a funeral, people dressed up in fictional characters. This is a fictional shooting. There is no Lil Jacob. All of these are clues of what's real or what's not real. Members of his extended family were the first to arrive at the church. He had the heart of an angel, his uncle Johnny Bridges said. Sure, another fictional character. One of Jacob's aunts, 12-year-old Star Henderson of Belton, was weeping as she walked out of the sanctuary. I remember when he used to pick flowers and give them to me, said Star, who was dressed as Supergirl. I didn't take the time to decode all this because there's already enough decoded. Ethan Scheck, Jacob's 4-year-old cousin, dressed up as Superman and came in carrying star-shaped balloons. These are for Jacob, he said. And look, my cape moves. Notice Jacob was 6, he was 4. Jacob 64, Israel 64. Caped Crusader, what he was buried in, gematria of 118, like death. Remember when Robin Williams mysteriously died on August 11th, 11/8? Date with 33 numerology that year. His last film, one of the last films he was in, was about his son accidentally hanging himself. Supposedly Robin Williams hung himself. With regards to the casket being, put in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle stickers, wherever we read that at, right up here, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, like the t-shirt he was shown wearing for the fundraiser. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles has that gematria of 93. The number Israel worships. Propaganda 93, Saturn 93. The 12-year-old aunt, Star Henderson, gematria of 88, just like Townville Elementary, just like Osborne, the name of the supposed shooter. All part of the hoax, by the numbers. U.S. Rep. Jeff Duncan. If he wants to put his name in here with this shooting hoax, he's another one that needs to get called out. Jeff Duncan equals 39, like the 39 books in the Old Testament. We'll have to call Jeff Duncan too. He'll be back in his office Monday with the Anderson School District, District number 4, which surely needs a phone call. This party was probably put on with all the money raised by the GoFundMe sheeple, you know? These sheeple, they need to be woken up because with their ignorant good hearts, look at what they do. They fund terrorism. If you donated to Lil Jacob, you're funding real terrorism. Terrorism, the real definition of terrorism is government by intimidation, which is what we have here. That's why now on the TV, they scare us with fake school shootings almost every week. They scare the children who are actually at these schools. They make them practice lockdown drills where the supervisor goes through the hallway banging on the doors that are supposed to be closed. I mean, why do children need to be tormented with this? There's no real shooting hoaxes in this nation, or there's no real shootings at schools in this nation. They're all hoaxes. The real ones, you never hear about them. They happen in the poor communities. Remember Jesse Osborne, 14, dead equals 14, end equals 14, supposedly shot his 47-year-old father, Jeffrey Osborne. Jesse Osborne equals 47, matching his 47-year-old father, number they love to use in the shooting hoaxes. Anyway, this is the question for the district. Why was this at 1:42 p.m.? Here's the answer for why it was at 1:42. When you write out 42, it sums to 142. 42 is the number of the Freemasons. Everything about this is 42. Pendleton's the 42 school district. Townville's 42. Big G for the Freemason Compass and Squares 42. Freemason 42. Zionism 42. Building 42. Architect, history, knowledge, math, gun, boy, war. So what your Freemasons are responsible. Contrived propaganda, contrived wars, history by the numbers. It's time to put it to an end. Fake spirituality, fake science, fake news, TV 42. Here's the sheriff in Superman. Sheriff equals 44. Shooting 44. Superman 44. This guy's name is John Skipper. Who has that name besides a Freemason fuck who changed their name? John Skipper, 60 like police. Freemasons rolling around in their costumes. Costume party, costume 96. Freemason 96. Uniform 96. Are you fed up yet? The phone number to call Anderson School District, 864-403-2000. Let your voice be heard, truth seeker. Until next time.